Vijender Reddy with us from Ganga Kaveri Seeds, who will be doing the launch for us. All to you, Mr. Gubba.
This new phone app, being launched by Mr. Yu, through that you can check the temperature, humidity and the inventory and Gubba 24/7 with your phone, within your phone. So that's the newest from Gubba. So we wanted a seed industry doyen to unveil that. We were supposed to have it in the second session, but we stood there, we said no, we wanted to have it under his auspicious hand, and we are handing it now. Thank you.
That Gubba is always hand in hand and neck to neck with technology. Moving on to our next session, which is on very long term for seed preservation. Sir had earlier mentioned about it. So the third session is basically on very long term seed preservation. For this, I would want to call a panel of our speakers, starting with, may I please invite Mr. Sanjay Kumar Gupta, JK Agri Genetics Private Limited, to come on the dais, please. Mr. Sanjay Kumar Gupta has been with JK Agri Genetics for the last 4.5 years and as a president and the CEO for the last 2 years. May I please invite Mr. Paresh Verma, Shriram Bioseeds Genetics India, to come on the dais, please. Dr. Paresh Verma has been working in the seed industry since 1992. He is currently working as the Director of Research in Shriram Bioseeds Genetics India Limited and responsible for bioseeds research and product development effort worldwide. May I also take the opportunity to please call upon Mr. Hari D. Upadhyay, ICRI SAT, to join us on the dais, please. Mr. Hari Upadhyay, Assistant Research Program Director, Grain Legumes and Principal Scientist and Head Gene Bank, ICRI SAT and Professor, Department of Agronomy, Kansas State University, Manhattan. He has total publications of over 560, journal articles over 200, including Nature Biotechnology, PNAS Current Options and Plant Biology. May I also take the opportunity to please call upon Mr. Kojali Nageshwara Rao, Consultant, Seed Processing and Technology. He has 45 years of global experience in seed conditioning and storage, assisted in World Bank seed conditioning projects as a technical consultant with NSC New Delhi. I welcome all our speakers once again. It's a privilege to have all of you here with us. Now may I please hand over the stage to Mr. Gubba Prashant to take care of the session, please.
Yeah, thank you, Tanu. So I invite Mr. Gupta to start the session with his views.
As colleagues from the industry, I would like to thank Gubba Cold Storage to giving this opportunity for sharing my views on a very, very technical topic. And I hope that I'm able to do justice to this. So when I first looked at this topic and I sat down to put a presentation, I was a bit overwhelmed by the technicality of the topic. And this is compounded by the fact that I have a handicap of not having any grounding in agriculture by way of education. But then I looked at the list of my co-panelists and I was much relieved because I am the company of stalwarts. So as far as technicality is concerned, I'm going to leave all the heavy lifting to the co-panelist, and I'm going to limit myself to the commercial aspects of this topic, and I'm going to give you my perspective as to what is the significance of long-term storage of seed from the commercial point of view for a seed company. So first of all, why do we require long-term storage of seeds? Certainly for commercial seeds, it doesn't make sense to even have short-term storage other than for strategic reasons. But the significance of this storage capability or technology, as you could say, arises from the fact that we need to protect the strategic germplasm or the diversity in nature for our future generation of breeders. So there are obvious advantages that if we have technologies for long-term storage, it avoids lot of hassles, lot of cost for a commercial seed technology. I need not tell you what are the associated advantages of this, but at the cost of repetition, just let me reiterate a few of them. First of all, a company which protects its germplasm, maintain its germplasm for the future generation, to keep it viable, need to regenerate it on a periodic basis. So if we have technology which can preserve it for a long time, that cost can be, or that effort can be saved. And this effort comes with a host of complications. First complication, of course, is the cost of multiplying it. And as the material goes out, it also suffers for some problems, like there can be accidental damages, there can be mislabeling, or in few circumstances, theft or piracy of your strategic germplasm. So we can avoid all those things. And the second part, I'm going to talk about draws from my friends Mr. Satish's presentation on sustainability. You would have noticed, and I'm saying this, all of you are aware, that genetic diversity is getting narrowed down year on year. And this is not by design, it is happening by default, because it is nature's law that the best will survive. So you have examples. If I give you a very specific example, the study was done in Sri Lanka that in 1959, 2,000 types of rice were grown in Sri Lanka. And today the number has shrunk down to only 5. 5 varieties of rice are being available. And there is enough literature and study available that the humankind has lost 75% of the diversity in the last century, and this will keep on happening. So even though we may say we would like the farmers, all the farmers in the country, to use the best available material, the best available seed for their commercial enterprise, but this comes with its own set of complications. The complications are, today our breeders are able to come out with better varieties, better hybrids, because of the variability which is available in nature and which is available to them to play around with. But what is going to happen after 20 years when this base continues to narrow down at the rate it is going down as of now? So that's a thing, that is something we need to think about. Another example or another argument to support what I'm saying is, take the example of Irish potato famine. I'm sure you would have heard of it. In 1845, potato crop in Ireland was devastated by a killer fungus which came accidentally from Mexico. And unfortunately or fortunately, all the farmers in Ireland were growing same variety of potato, which led to a total devastation, and 1 million people died as a result of the famine which was caused by this. So maybe if the farmers were growing different types of variety, this total disaster could have been avoided. There may have been some varieties which could have escaped this fungus. I do not know. Or maybe friends from the agrochemicals industry would say at that time there were no fungicides available, no pesticides available which could have saved this disaster. But let's also be aware of the fact, we have seen this in human. There are many diseases or infections which are now beyond the control of regularly available or the commonly available antibiotics. The similar thing which exists in science fiction today, the superbugs, which can escape all the known sources of remedial measures we have, can become a science fact tomorrow. So preservation, long-term preservation of seed for the point of view of maintaining diversity and sustainability of our business is the key. And let's not leave it only to the government bodies or the government or some NGO or somebody to protect the biodiversity. Let's all of us think about it and take steps to maintain this biodiversity by way of long-term storage of seeds. Thank you very much.
May I please call upon Mrs. Paresh Verma from Shriram Bioseeds Genetics India Limited.
Thank you very much. Before I start, I would like to really congratulate from the bottom of my heart for this unique achievement that in terms of Gubba family having reached here and completed successful 25 years of this unique business model. So congratulations to you, all of you. Second, I think all of you, or not all of you, but some of you know that I am no seed technologist, let alone an expert in seed storage. So when Mr. Gubba Kiran asked me to speak on this very long-term preservation of seed, I said, it's okay by me, but please do it at your own risk. And I think he has done that. So if there are things that are wrong, it's probably not going to be my fault, because I had forewarned. Anyway, coming back to this topic, I think you heard from Mr. Gupta the need to preserve seed over longer periods, and longer is really a relative term. It could be longer just means longer than one season, longer than 1 year, longer than a few years. So depends on what perspective we have is what that long-term storage means. But generally, I think we as users in the seed industry, and we as people who are interested in storing seed of different kinds, we need to be aware that the storability of the seed and the longevity of the seed during storage really is a function of three different things. One is the seed itself, which could be the type of the crop, the type of the hybrid variety, etc. The second thing is the quality of the seed at the time when it is going into storage. And third, of course, is the conditions that we have during storage. And those conditions, as you all know, are just two. One is temperature, one is relative humidity. Now, when I said that different kinds of seeds they have inherent properties of differential storability, and the ones which are most easily stored are generally called as orthodox seeds. And then of course we have other kinds which are very difficult to store for longer periods. Fortunately, none of those are really in our active commerce and trade in the seed industry and for the group who is present here today. So we are not going to talk about that. But for the orthodox seeds, it is the temperature and humidity which is more important in terms of the storage conditions, and then of course the moisture of the seed at which the seed is being stored. Now there are rules of thumb there for storage. We know that for every so much decrease in temperature, you can increase the longevity by so much, or for every increase in the seed moisture, you can expect to lose or decrease the longevity by so much. But depending on what the storage conditions are, I think the right soil moisture, the right seed moisture coupled with the right temperature and humidity in the cold store are going to be the key criteria. Now, long term would be anything which is more than 4 or 5 years, because I think 4 or 5 years is really mid-term. And if you go beyond that, then you would need to ensure maintenance of viability in the seed, maintenance of germination in the seed. I think you would need to go to sub-zero temperatures. Depending on the crop, I think you can store seed very safely for 4 to 6 years at temperatures which are about 4 to 5 degrees Celsius and maybe 30-40% relative humidity. But anything more than that, like I said, would mean going below zero, whether it is -4, -6, -20 is something that I think will depend on which seed are we talking about and what is the purpose, and therefore you know, how much longer do we need to store the seed. At anything which is sub-zero storage, the seed moisture has to be very, very low. And of course we have Dr. Upadhyay here, who is an expert on storing and maintaining and preserving germplasm and seed resources over long term. But I think I can very safely say that it will have to be at sub-zero temperatures. It will have to be about 3 to 5 or 3 to 6% seed moisture. So you will really have to dry the seed down, and therefore that drying below 8-9% is really the critical process, because of the way you dry, how slowly or how fast will actually can potentially damage the seed. Then beyond this sub-zero, there is these days an option of cryopreservation of seeds, using which you can actually store the seed forever, almost forever. And this cryopreservation is usually done using something which is very commonly available, which is very cost effective, and it is liquid nitrogen. So liquid nitrogen temperature would be -190 or 195 degrees Celsius. To store the seed at this, if the seed is stored at this temperature, you know that the metabolism within the seed has essentially would essentially be stopped, and therefore the life of the seed would be preserved almost for forever. Now at that temperature, preparing the seed for storage at that temperature becomes a very critical issue. And there is no standard protocol that you can follow for all crops. I think the protocols will have to be defined and devised for each crop variety almost. If you were to do that, this is obviously very expensive, and I think probably not something that we in the seed industry would be interested in at that time. But some of these larger seed banks, because Mr. Sanjay Gupta said that we as plant breeders, we as seedsmen are interested in making sure that the entire biodiversity is conserved and remains available to us for improving the crops and hybrids that we are interested in almost forever. And for that, it would be important that the germplasm resources are stored. And I think for those applications, some of the larger gene banks would really have the mandate of cryopreserving these seed resources. So with that, I think I would end my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. May I please call on board Mr. Hari D. Upadhyay, ICRI SAT, to please share his views with us.
Good afternoon, everybody.